The chair shouldn't have killed her, but Maya was starting to think it might. She'd been setting up charity galas for 3 years, and nothing, not demanding brides, not impossible venues, not even that disaster with the ice sculpture and the senators to pay, had prepared her for Silvercrest Estate. The place was gorgeous, all old money and older secrets, but something about it made her skin crawl. The staff moved too quietly, watched too closely, and every room felt like it was holding its breath. Maya pushed through the ballroom's double doors, her heels clicking on marble that probably cost more than her car. She had 6 hours to transform this space into something worthy of the guest list, which included names that made her hands shake when she typed the invitations. Okay, she muttered, pulling out her tablet. Cocktail tables here, stage there, and that ridiculous ice sculpture. She stopped, frowning at the raised platform near the back wall. What the hell is that? A chair sat on the platform like it owned the place. And maybe it did. The thing was gorgeous, ornate silver that caught the light and threw it back in patterns that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking directly at it. The seat was upholstered in fabric that looked like moonlight, and the high back was carved with symbols she didn't recognize but somehow felt familiar. It definitely wasn't on the floor plan. Maya climbed the 3 steps to the platform, circling the chair. It was beautiful, sure, but completely wrong for the event. Too formal. Too much. She needed to find whoever put it here and have them move it. Her feet ached. She'd been on them since 5 that morning, and the day wasn't close to over. Just for a second, she'd sit down, check her notes, figure out who to call about relocating this thing. The moment her body touched the chair, the world exploded. Silver light erupted from the armrests, racing across the surface in patterns that looked alive. Maya tried to jerk away, but vines, actual vines made of pure light, wrapped around her wrists, holding her in place. Heat seared through her spine like someone had pressed a brand against every vertebra. She screamed, but the sound got lost in the sudden roar of power that filled the ballroom. The pain intensified. Not just heat now, burning. Like something was being written into her skin, carved into her bones. She looked down through tears and saw symbols appearing on her forearms, glowing silver against her skin, moving like they were alive. What? She gasped. What's happening? The ballroom doors crashed open. Staff members poured in, their faces white with something that looked like terror. A woman in a designer gown that probably cost more than Maya's rent pushed through the crowd, her beautiful face twisted with fury. Get up, the woman shrieked. Get up right now. Maya wanted to. God, she wanted to. But the light had wrapped around her torso now, and her body wouldn't respond to anything she told it to do. The woman, tall, blonde, the kind of beautiful that came with personal trainers and monthly spa trips, grabbed Maya's arm and pulled. The chair didn't like that. A shockwave exploded outward, and suddenly the woman was flying backward across the ballroom. She hit a table hard enough to splinter it, expensive china shattering around her. Victoria, someone shouted, but Maya couldn't focus on that because the light was fading now, sinking into her skin, and the pain was ebbing to a dull throb that pulsed with her heartbeat. Then he walked in. Maya's breath caught. The man who entered the ballroom didn't walk, he prowled. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and eyes that looked almost amber in the light. He wore a suit that fit like it had been made for him, which it probably had, but the civilized clothing did nothing to hide the predator underneath. Power radiated off him in waves, and every person in the room took an unconscious step back when he passed. He stopped at the edge of the platform, looking up at her with an expression she couldn't read. Those strange eyes traveled from her face to the chair, to the marks now visible on her arms, and back to her face again. Stand up, he said. His voice was quiet, controlled, but Maya heard the command in it. The absolute authority. Her body obeyed before her mind caught up. She stood, and the chair released her without resistance. The silver light had faded completely, but the marks on her arms remained, pulsing faintly with their own internal rhythm. The blonde woman, Victoria, had recovered. She stormed toward the platform, fury in every line of her body. Dominic, I don't know what kind of trick this is, but... Sit down, Victoria, the man, Dominic, said, still watching Maya. What? I'm not going to. In the chair. He finally looked away from Maya, and the weight of his attention on Victoria made the other woman take a step back. Sit in the chair. Victoria's chin lifted. Fine. I'll prove this is some kind of. She climbed the platform and moved toward the chair. The moment she tried to sit, the chair's arms transformed. They extended outward like blades, silver and sharp and deadly, stopping inches from Victoria's torso. She froze, her face going white. Jesus Christ, someone whispered. Dominic made a gesture, and a man built like a linebacker stepped forward, his beta, Maya's brain supplied, though she had no idea why that word meant anything to her. The beta climbed the platform cautiously, approaching the chair like it might bite. When he tried to sit, the chair simply refused. His weight met no resistance. He fell straight through where the seat should have been and hit the platform hard, cursing. Dominic's jaw clenched. Maya watched a muscle tick there, saw his hands curl into fists at his sides. When he spoke, his voice carried across the ballroom with absolute authority. Lock down the estate. No one leaves. Especially her. He pointed at Maya. Guards materialized from doorways Maya hadn't noticed. They surrounded the platform, hands on weapons she really hoped they wouldn't use. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Wait, she said, finding her voice. I don't understand. I was just sitting down. I didn't mean to. Come here. Dominic gestured, and though everything in Maya screamed to run, her feet carried her down the steps toward him. He caught her wrist, gently, but firmly, and examined the marks on her skin. Up close, she could see gold flecks in those amber eyes, could smell something wild and clean, like pine forests and winter nights. You're human, he said, and it sounded like an accusation. Yes? I mean, obviously. I'm Maya Chen, I'm with Premier Events, I'm here to coordinate the gala. You were. He let go of her wrist, but moved closer instead of farther away. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. Close enough that she could feel heat radiating from his body. Not anymore. The guards closed in tighter. Victoria stood at the edge of the platform, murder in her eyes. The staff members whispered among themselves, and Maya caught fragments. Impossible, the throne, 300 years. Dominic leaned down, his lips close to her ear. When he spoke, his breath was warm against her skin, and his words sent ice down her spine. You just claimed the Luna's throne. That makes you either my mate, or my enemy. We have until the full moon to figure out which. Maya's eyes went automatically to the windows. Outside, the moon hung in the afternoon sky, pale, but visible. And growing. She didn't know how she knew, but she was certain. How long? Her voice came out as a whisper. Dominic pulled back enough to look at her, and something that might have been sympathy flickered in those inhuman eyes. 8 days. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 2. The suite they locked her in was nicer than any place Maya had ever lived. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked grounds that stretched into forest, furniture that belonged in magazines, a bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. Under different circumstances, she might have enjoyed it. But the 2 guards stationed outside her door and the 3rd posted beneath her window made it clear what this really was. A very pretty cage. Maya paced, her heels abandoned somewhere near the bed. The marks on her arms pulsed with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat, silver lines that formed patterns she still couldn't decipher. She tried scrubbing them off in the shower. They hadn't budged. Hadn't even faded. The door opened without warning. Victoria swept in like she owned the place, which, Maya supposed, she probably did. Or thought she did. Up close, without the chaos of the ballroom, the other woman was even more stunning. Tall and elegant in tailored slacks and a silk blouse, blonde hair perfect, makeup flawless. The kind of woman who'd never had to coordinate her own event because people simply did things for her. The kind of woman who looked at Maya like she was something stuck to the bottom of her shoe. "We need to talk," Victoria said, closing the door behind her. Maya crossed her arms, felt the marks beneath her fingers. "Still warm." "I'm listening." "I doubt you understand what you've done." Victoria moved to the window, her back straight, every inch of her radiating controlled fury. "The Luna's chair hasn't chosen anyone in 300 years. Do you know why?" "I'm guessing you're about to tell me." Victoria turned, and the look in her eyes made Maya take an involuntary step back. "Because there haven't been any true Lunas. The chair was created by the first Luna, imbued with magic to recognize only authentic Luna bloodlines. It doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't accept pretenders." She paused. "Until today, apparently." Maya's throat tightened. "I didn't pretend anything. I sat down to check my notes. And triggered the Luna's right." Victoria moved closer, her voice dropping. "An ancient pack law that's absolute. Whoever the chair claims must complete the bonding ceremony with the Alpha before the full moon. If they do, they become true Luna. If they don't. If they don't?" Maya's voice came out steadier than she felt. "Execution. To prevent false claims to power." Victoria smiled, but there was nothing warm in it. "There are no exceptions. No appeals. 8 days, Maya. You either bond with Dominic, or you die." The room tilted. Maya grabbed the back of a chair, her knuckles white. "That's insane. I'm human. I'm nobody. There's obviously been some kind of mistake. The chair doesn't make mistakes." Victoria was close enough now that Maya could smell her perfume, expensive, subtle. "I've been Dominic's chosen mate for 5 years. 5 years of standing by his side, learning pack politics, earning the respect of the wolves. And you think you can waltz in here and take my place because some relic from the Dark Ages liked the way you sat down?" "I don't want your place," Maya said. "I don't want any of this." "Then run." Victoria's smile widened. "The moment you cross the estate boundary, you break the right. The guards will kill you before you make it 10 feet. But at least it would be quick." "Victoria." Dominic's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Maya hadn't heard the door open, but he stood in the doorway, his presence filling the room. "Out." "Dominic, I was just explaining." "Now." Victoria's jaw tightened, but she moved toward the door. As she passed Dominic, she paused. 5 years, she said softly. "Don't throw that away for a human who doesn't even know what she is." The door closed behind her. Maya waited for her heartbeat to slow, but it didn't. Not with Dominic watching her with those unsettling amber eyes. He moved into the room, and she noticed he'd changed, traded the suit for jeans and a dark Henley that somehow made him look more dangerous, not less. Without the formal clothing, she could see the strength in him, the predator barely contained. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the couch. "I've had enough of sitting in things I shouldn't." His mouth quirked, almost a smile, but not quite. "Fair enough." He leaned against the desk, arms crossed. Victoria wasn't lying. The Luna's right is real, and it's absolute. I can't simply reject the chair's choice without causing a crisis in the pack. But you want to. It wasn't a question. I want to understand what's happening. His eyes stayed on hers, intense and unreadable. Victoria's right about one thing, she's been my chosen mate for 5 years. I can't abandon that without proof you're truly meant to be Luna. I need time to investigate your background. Maya laughed, but it came out bitter. Good luck with that. I grew up in foster care. My parents died when I was 3. I have no family, no history, no connection to. She gestured helplessly. Whatever this is. Dominic's eyes narrowed. Tell me about your parents. I can't. I don't remember them. Maya moved to the window, staring out at the darkening grounds. Car accident, they told me. I survived, they didn't. I bounced around the system until I aged out. That's it. That's my whole story. That's exactly the problem. She turned to find him closer, having moved with that unnatural silence. What do you mean? The chair doesn't make mistakes, Dominic said, echoing Victoria's words. Which means someone went to great lengths to hide who you really are. Your parents, your bloodline, someone made sure you'd never know. The question is why? Maya's stomach twisted. You're saying my entire life is a lie? I'm saying we need answers. Fast. He pulled out his phone, typed something. I'm putting my best people on this. If there's anything to find about your real parents, your bloodline, we'll find it. And if you don't? If I really am just human? Then the chair made its first mistake in 1,000 years. But he didn't sound like he believed that. Until we know for sure, you stay here. Under guard. Under arrest, you mean? Under protection. Dominic moved toward the door, then paused. I'm assigning Kai to watch over you. He's my most trusted warrior, and he doesn't trust easily. If someone wants to hurt you, and after that display in the ballroom, they will, he'll keep you alive long enough for us to figure this out. How comforting. He almost smiled again. Get some rest, Maya. You're going to need it. After he left, Maya sank onto the couch, her hands shaking. The marks on her arms seemed brighter in the fading light, pulsing gently. She traced one with her finger, watched it shift slightly under her touch. What the hell was she? The guard who entered an hour later was everything Dominic had promised and nothing Maya wanted. Kai was built like someone who solved problems with his fists, all muscle and scars and cold efficiency. A jagged line ran from his temple to his jaw, old, but brutal. His dark eyes swept the room, cataloging exits and threats, before finally landing on her. Ma'am, he said, his voice gravel. Just Maya is fine. Ma'am, he repeated, making it clear that's all she'd be getting. He positioned himself near the door, arms crossed. I'm here to keep you alive. That means you do what I say, when I say it. Understood? Wow. Your people skills are amazing. His expression didn't change. I don't need people skills. I need you to follow orders and not die before the Alpha figures out what you are. I'm human, Maya said, tired of repeating it. We'll see. Night fell. Someone brought dinner, elaborate, delicious, untouched. Maya tried to sleep but couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that chair erupting with light, felt the burning as those symbols carved themselves into her skin. Around midnight, she gave up. She pulled on the robe someone had left and moved to the window, staring out at the moon. Fuller than it had been this afternoon. 7 days now. Less. A sound made her turn. Kai was fighting. 3 figures in black, faces covered, had somehow gotten past the guards. Kai moved like violence incarnate, but they were fast, impossibly fast, and there were 3 of them. Steel flashed in the moonlight. Blood sprayed, Kai's blood. One of the attackers broke away, moving toward Maya with inhuman speed. A blade appeared in his hand, arcing toward her throat. Maya's hands came up instinctively, to block, to protect, she didn't know. Silver light exploded from her palms. Not like the chair. Brighter. Hotter. The assassin didn't even have time to scream. He simply disintegrated, turned to ash that scattered across the expensive carpet. The other 2 suffered the same fate, their bodies unable to withstand whatever power had just erupted from her. The light faded. Maya stared at her hands, at the marks now blazing like brands. At the ash settling around her bare feet. Kai leaned against the wall, bleeding from a dozen cuts, staring at her with something that looked like awe and fear mixed together. You're not human, he breathed. You never were. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 3. The ash was still on the carpet when Dominic arrived. He took one look at the remains of the three assassins, at Kai bleeding against the wall, at Maya standing in the center of it all with her hands still glowing faintly, and his face went hard. "Lock it down," he barked at the guards who'd finally made it past whatever magic had kept them out. "I want every inch of this estate searched. Find out how they got in." Maya's hands were shaking. She stared at them, at the marks that pulsed with silver light, at the power she could still feel humming under her skin. "I killed them. You defended yourself." Dominic moved toward her carefully, like she might bolt. Or explode. "Maya, look at me." She did. Those amber eyes were calmer than she felt, steady in a way that made her breathing slow. "You did what you had to do," he said. "That's all. I turned them to ash." Her voice cracked. "I don't know how. I don't know what I am. We're going to find out." He looked past her to Kai. "Get patched up. Then I want you back here. She's not to be left alone for a second." Kai straightened despite his wounds. "Yes, Alpha." The next 72 hours blurred together. Dominic's security team tore the estate apart looking for breaches. The pack was on high alert, warriors patrolling in shifts. And Maya spent her time with Kai, learning to control something she didn't understand. "Again," Kai said, his voice rough. They were in a training room deep in the estate's lower levels, walls reinforced with something that could withstand whatever she threw at them. Maya held her hands out, focused on that feeling, the warmth that started in her chest and traveled down her arms. Silver light flickered, then died. "You're overthinking it." Kai moved closer, his scarred face serious. "Luna's gift isn't about control. It's about instinct. When those assassins came at you, you didn't think. You reacted." "Luna's gift," Maya repeated. "You keep calling it that. Because that's what it is." Kai gestured to her marks. "Lost magic from the original Luna bloodline. I've only seen it once before, and that was 30 years ago." Maya's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" But before Kai could answer, the training room door opened. Dominic entered with a woman Maya hadn't seen before, elderly, sharp-eyed, carrying a leather folder like it contained secrets. "Maya, this is Margaret. She's been researching your background." Dominic's expression was unreadable. "She found something." Margaret spread papers across a nearby table. Old documents, some of them yellowed with age. Newspaper clippings. Official records with portions blacked out. 30 years ago, Margaret began, her voice precise, there was a massacre. The Moonweaver bloodline, the original Luna family, was slaughtered by a rival pack. Men, women, children. They killed everyone they could find. Maya's stomach dropped. "Why?" "Power," Dominic said quietly. "The Moonweavers held Luna's gift. Magic that made them nearly unstoppable. Other packs feared them. Envied them. So they conspired to wipe them out." Margaret pointed to a document. Only one survived. A pregnant woman who escaped the night of the massacre. She went into hiding, protected by loyalists who died keeping her secret. She looked up at Maya. "The timeline matches your age exactly." The room spun. Maya grabbed the table's edge. "You're saying I'm, what? Some kind of werewolf royalty?" "We're saying your parents weren't human," Dominic said. "They weren't even the foster parents who died in that convenient car accident. They were wolves, bodyguards assigned to protect you. When you were 3, something happened. They died keeping your identity secret." "How do you know that?" "Because we found their real names." Margaret pulled out another document. James and Sarah Mitchell. Both killed in what the human police called a home invasion. But the coroner's report shows injuries consistent with werewolf claws. Maya's legs gave out. She sat hard on the training mat, her mind racing. "So my entire life has been a lie." "Your entire life has been protection," Kai said roughly. Your mother loved you enough to give you up. To let you think you were human, powerless, nobody. So you'd be safe. Well, that worked out great, Maya said bitterly. A commotion from upstairs made them all tense. Raised voices. Dominic's phone buzzed, and his jaw tightened as he read the message. Victoria's calling a pack gathering, he said. Right now. The great hall was packed. Wolves, because that's what they were, Maya realized, even in human form, filled every available space. The crowd parted as Dominic entered with Maya and Kai flanking her. The stares felt like physical things, some curious, some hostile, all intense. Victoria stood on the raised platform where the Luna's chair had been moved. She looked radiant in a crimson dress, playing to the crowd like she was born for it. Thank you all for coming, she said, her voice carrying. I know these are troubling times. An outsider claims our most sacred relic. Assassins breach our walls. Our alpha is torn between duty and sentiment. Her eyes found Maya in the crowd. Some say we should simply accept this. That the chair's choice is absolute. Murmurs of agreement and disagreement rippled through the gathered wolves. But I ask you, what is tradition worth if we abandon it the moment it becomes inconvenient? Victoria's voice rose. This woman appears from nowhere. She has power, yes, but what kind of power? I've consulted with our elders. What she wields isn't just Luna's gift. She paused for effect. It's twisted. Dark. The kind of magic that comes from forbidden sources. The murmurs grew louder. Maya felt Kai tense beside her. She's a dark witch, Victoria continued, using forbidden magic to manipulate the chair. To seduce our alpha. To steal what isn't hers to take. That's enough. Dominic's voice cut through the noise like a blade. He moved through the crowd, warriors automatically making way for their alpha. When he reached the platform, Victoria's confident expression faltered. But before Dominic could speak, an older man stepped forward. Distinguished, gray-haired, wearing expensive clothes and an air of authority, Victoria's father, Maya realized. The elder councilman. Alpha Silvercrest, he said formally. We respect your authority. But the pack has concerns. Legitimate concerns about this woman's nature and intentions. Then investigate, Dominic said. But don't spread lies about dark magic without proof. We propose something better. The councilman's smile was cold. A trial of truth. Let Maya prove her worth by surviving 3 challenges before the full moon. If she succeeds, we accept the chair's choice. If she fails. He shrugged. Then the Luna's right is voided. She's exiled from our lands. The crowd erupted. Some shouting support, others protesting. Dominic's hands curled into fists, and Maya saw the struggle on his face. He was alpha, but he couldn't simply override pack law without risking everything. The trial of truth is ancient law, the councilman pressed. You can't refuse without admitting you have no faith in her abilities. It was a trap, and they both knew it. Dominic's jaw worked. Finally, he nodded once. Agreed. 3 trials. 5 days. Maya's heart hammered. She caught Victoria's triumphant smile, saw the calculation in her father's eyes. This had been planned. Orchestrated. That night, back in her suite with Kai on guard, Maya paced until her feet hurt. 5 days. 3 trials designed to kill her or discredit her. And she had no idea what she was really facing. Stop, Kai said finally. You're going to wear a hole in the floor. I'm going to die in 5 days. Not if I can help it. He moved to the window, staring out at the grounds. I told you I'd seen Luna's gift before. I wasn't entirely honest about the circumstances. Maya stopped pacing. What do you mean? 30 years ago, I was a young warrior. Ambitious, stupid, thought I was invincible. His scarred face was shadowed. I was assigned to protect the Moonweaver family. Your family. The night of the massacre, I was supposed to be on guard duty. Kai. I wasn't there, he continued, his voice rough with old guilt. I was with a woman. Thought I had time. Thought no one would attack during the peace talks. He turned to face her. I was wrong. By the time I got back, everyone was dead or dying. Everyone except one woman, your mother. She was pregnant, terrified, bleeding. I got her out. Helped her disappear. It's the only thing I did right that night. Maya's throat tightened. It wasn't your fault. Yes, it was. Kai's eyes were haunted. I've lived with that failure for 30 years. I won't fail you again. Whatever these trials throw at you, I'll make sure you're ready. They trained until dawn. By the time the sun rose, Maya could call the silver light consistently, could shape it into shields and blasts. It wasn't much, but it was something. She was heading to the shower when she noticed it, a loose board near the bed that she'd thought was just a quirk of the old estate. But something made her kneel, made her pry it up. Inside was a letter. Old, yellowed paper, sealed with wax that had cracked with age. Her name was written on the front in elegant handwriting that made her chest ache with recognition she shouldn't have. Maya's hands shook as she broke the seal. Maya, if you're reading this, the chair has chosen you. But you must know the truth, your father wasn't a werewolf. He was something far more dangerous. You are not just Luna. You are the key to a prophecy that will either save our kind, or destroy us all. Heat erupted from the paper. Maya dropped it as flames consumed the letter, burning too fast and too hot to be natural. Within seconds, only ash remained. Except for one word, still visible in the scattered remains, glowing faintly silver. Trust no one. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 4. The combat arena was older than the estate itself, carved into the hillside like an amphitheater. Dawn light cut through the early morning mist as Maya descended the stone steps, every eye in the pack following her movement. She'd barely slept. The letter's warning, trust no one, kept echoing in her head. And beneath that, questions she couldn't answer. What was her father? What prophecy? What had her mother been so desperate to hide? First trial, the elder councilman announced, his voice carrying across the arena. Marcus stood on the platform, Victoria beside him in a white dress that made her look ethereal and pure. Combat mastery. The candidate must defeat 3 of our elite warriors in succession. No Luna powers. No magic. Only skill. Maya's stomach dropped. I've never fought anyone in my life. Then you should have thought of that before claiming the Luna's throne, Victoria said sweetly. Kai appeared at Maya's side, his scarred face grim. Listen to me. You've got instincts you don't know about. Trust them. Don't think, just move. That's not exactly helpful advice for someone about to get destroyed by trained killers. They're not trying to kill you, Kai said. Just incapacitate. There's a difference. Oh, wonderful. The first warrior entered the arena. Male, built like a tank, covered in scars that spoke of decades of combat. He cracked his knuckles, and Maya heard bones pop. The horn sounded. The warrior came at her fast. Maya's brain screamed at her to run, but her body moved on its own. She sidestepped, and his fist passed inches from her face. He spun, faster than someone his size should move, and his legs swept toward her knees. Maya jumped. Not a normal jump, she cleared his leg by feet, landing in a crouch that felt both foreign and perfectly natural. The warrior's eyes widened in surprise. She didn't give him time to recover. Her body moved like it had been fighting for years, like muscle memory was guiding her through techniques she'd never learned. A strike to his solar plexus. A sweep of his legs when he doubled over. A final blow to the pressure point at his neck that sent him crashing to the arena floor. The crowd erupted in shocked murmurs. Maya stared at her hands. What the hell just happened? The second warrior was already entering, female, smaller, faster. She moved like water, flowing around Maya's instinctive blocks. A fist caught Maya's ribs, driving the air from her lungs. An elbow to her jaw sent stars exploding across her vision. Maya hit the ground hard. The warrior loomed over her, preparing the finishing blow. Something inside Maya shifted. Not the silver light, something else. Something darker. Her vision sharpened, the world slowing down. She could see the warrior's next 3 moves before she made them, could read the intent in her muscles, the trajectory of her strikes. Maya rolled, swept the woman's legs, and used her momentum to flip them both. She ended on top, her forearm pressed to the warrior's throat, not crushing, just holding. Just winning. Yield, Maya said, surprised by the command in her own voice. The warrior tapped out. 2 down. 1 to go. The third warrior was Kai. Maya's eyes widened. What? Elite warriors, Marcus called out. I believe our weapon master qualifies. Kai's expression was unreadable as he entered the arena. He moved like a predator, all controlled violence. When he spoke, his voice was low enough that only Maya could hear. Don't hold back, he said. Show them what you really are. Then he attacked. Kai was faster than the others, stronger, more experienced. Every move was calculated to push her harder, to force her past her limits. Maya's borrowed instincts struggled to keep up. She took hits that would have dropped her an hour ago but somehow stayed on her feet. The dark thing inside her surged again. Her movements became fluid, almost inhuman. She could feel power coiling beneath her skin, not silver light, but something else. Something that wanted out. She fought it. If she used magic, she'd be disqualified. Worse, she'd prove Victoria's accusations about dark power. Kai came at her with a combination that should have ended the fight. Maya blocked, countered, found an opening, and took it. She swept his legs and followed him down, her knee on his chest, her hand at his throat. For a moment, they stayed frozen. Kai's eyes searched hers, and she saw recognition there. Fear. Yield, she whispered. Victory, someone shouted as Kai tapped out. The crowd was split, half cheering, half silent with suspicion. Maya stood on shaking legs, her body screaming from impacts and exertion. She'd won. Somehow, impossibly, she'd won. Dominic stood on the platform, his expression unreadable. But his eyes were fixed on her like he was seeing her for the first time. Victoria's face had gone white with fury. That night, Maya's dreams were worse than ever. She saw her mother running through dark forests, terror in her eyes. Wolves pursued her, dozens of them, their howls echoing through the trees. Her mother's hands glowed silver, throwing up shields that barely held. The dream shifted. A man stood in moonlight, and Maya's breath caught. He was beautiful in a dangerous way, with golden eyes that seemed to hold galaxies and shadows that curled around his fingers like living things. When he smiled, she felt it in her chest. Her father. The dream shifted again. Stone walls. Ancient carvings. Words that burned themselves into her consciousness. When Luna blood and shadow blood unite, the child will bear the power to unmake the veil between worlds. She will be salvation or damnation. Maya woke gasping, the words still echoing in her mind. She stumbled to the laptop Dominic had provided, her hands shaking as she searched. Shadow Walker. The term appeared in fragments, old texts, forbidden lore. Dark supernatural beings from before recorded history. Reality manipulators. Enemies of werewolves, hunted to extinction centuries ago because their power threatened the natural order. If the pack discovered what she was, half Shadow Walker, half Luna, they wouldn't wait for trials. They'd execute her immediately. The second trial came too quickly. The council chamber was formal, intimidating, filled with the pack's oldest and most powerful members. Maya stood before them in simple clothes, her marks visible on her arms, trying not to shake. Knowledge of the old ways, Marcus intoned. The candidate must answer questions about werewolf history, law, and Luna traditions. Any incorrect answer results in immediate failure. Maya's mouth went dry. She knew nothing. How could she possibly? First question, Marcus said. Name the 3 sacred laws established by the first Luna. Maya opened her mouth, expecting nothing. But words flowed out, perfect and certain, like someone else was speaking through her. Protection of the innocent. Preservation of the pack. Balance between worlds. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Second question. What ritual marks the turning of the full moon during a Luna's ascension? Again, knowledge flooded her mind. The chair. It had to be the chair, feeding her answers, but how? The ritual of silver binding, performed at moonrise with the Alpha's blood and the Luna's light combined. Question after question. Maya answered perfectly, the knowledge appearing in her mind the instant before she needed it. Pack history, ancient laws, traditions that should have taken years to learn, she knew all of it. Too perfectly. Victoria shot to her feet. This is impossible. She's cheating. Dark magic, just like I said, she's using forbidden power to manipulate the trial. The council erupted in argument. Some defending Maya, others demanding her immediate execution. Marcus stood, his face hard. I move that we end this farce, he declared. The candidate has clearly used dark magic to corrupt the trial. She should be executed immediately, before she can do more harm. Dominic rose from his seat, and the room fell silent. The Alpha's power filled the space, undeniable and absolute. She completes all 3 trials, as agreed, he said, his voice deadly quiet. I won't dishonor our laws because you're afraid of what she might be. Afraid? Marcus's voice rose. I'm trying to protect this pack from an abomination. Then prove she's an abomination after the 3rd trial. Dominic's eyes swept the council. Or admit you're simply trying to rig the outcome because tradition matters more to you than truth. The tension could have been cut with a knife. Warriors throughout the room were choosing sides with their eyes, their posture. Maya felt the fracture running through the pack like a physical thing. Kai appeared at her side as the council adjourned. Civil war, he said quietly. It's coming. Half the pack follows Dominic. The other half follows Marcus and Victoria. This trial, whatever it is, it's going to force everyone to choose. Maya's chest tightened. I didn't ask for any of this. Neither did they. Kai's scarred face was sympathetic. But here we are. Maya tried to sleep that night but couldn't. The 3rd trial was tomorrow. She still didn't know what it would be, only that it would be the worst. A sound brought her fully awake. Victoria stood at the foot of her bed, silver dagger gleaming in the moonlight. Her beautiful face was twisted with hatred and something that looked like desperation. I know what you are, Victoria hissed. Half-shadow walker abomination. I should kill you now. Maya's hands lit with silver light instinctively. How did you? My father has sources. Old texts. He recognized the signs, the way you move, the dark power underneath the silver light. Victoria moved closer, the dagger steady in her hand. You're exactly what the prophecy warned about. The one who'll destroy us all. I don't want to destroy anyone. Liar. Victoria lunged. The door exploded inward. Dominic crashed through, moving faster than Maya had ever seen him move. He grabbed Victoria's wrist, the dagger stopping inches from Maya's throat. Dominic, please, Victoria started. You broke into her room. With a weapon. Dominic's voice was cold, empty of everything except betrayal. He twisted Victoria's wrist until she dropped the dagger. You violated sanctuary laws. She's a shadow walker. Victoria screamed. Half monster. The prophecy. Dominic froze. His eyes cut to Maya, and the expression there destroyed her. Betrayal. Shock. And underneath it all, the terrible realization that Victoria might be right. "Is it true?" he demanded. Maya's throat closed. She couldn't lie. Couldn't deny what she'd discovered in those old texts, in her dreams, in her mother's warning. The world exploded. The blast threw all of them across the room. Windows shattered. Walls cracked. Through the ringing in her ears, Maya heard howls, dozens of them, coming from outside. She staggered to the broken window and looked out. The estate's walls were breached. Wolves poured through, huge, savage, wearing the colors of a pack she didn't recognize. But Kai did. "Bloodfang," he gasped, bleeding from a cut on his forehead. "The pack that killed your family. They found you." A voice boomed across the grounds, amplified by power that made the air vibrate. "Moonweaver's daughter. We've come to finish what we started 30 years ago. Come out and die with dignity, or we'll slaughter everyone in this estate to get to you." Dominic was on his feet, blood running down his face, eyes blazing amber. He looked at Maya, at the monster he'd just learned she was, and she saw the decision forming behind his eyes. Save his pack, or protect her. Outside, the army howled for her blood. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 5. Chaos erupted across the Silvercrest estate. Maya stood at the shattered window, watching wolves pour through the breached walls like a dark tide. They were massive, battle-scarred, moving with the coordination of an army that had done this before. At their head was a wolf larger than the rest, pure black with eyes that glowed red even in his shifted form. Ragnar. The alpha who'd slaughtered her family. Dominic was already moving, barking orders. Defensive positions. Protect the main hall. Get the non-combatants to the safe rooms. Warriors flooded into the corridor outside Maya's room. She heard the sounds of shifting, bones cracking, bodies reforming, as the pack prepared for war. But Dominic's eyes kept returning to her, filled with a betrayal that cut deeper than any blade. "You're half Shadow Walker," he said, and it wasn't a question anymore. "That's what Victoria meant. That's what you've been hiding." "I didn't know," Maya said desperately. "Not until yesterday. The dreams, the research, I only just figured it out." "And you didn't think to tell me?" His voice was cold, the voice of an alpha weighing threat assessment over whatever fragile connection they'd begun to build. "You didn't think it was relevant that you're half of a species that nearly destroyed the werewolf race?" "I didn't have time. The trial, Victoria trying to kill me. She was right to try." The words came from Marcus, Victoria's father, who appeared in the doorway with a dozen warriors at his back. "The Bloodfang pack is here because of her. They've tracked the abomination to our doorstep. Dominic, you have one choice: hand her over, or watch your pack burn." "You want me to surrender someone under my protection?" Dominic's power filled the room, making the air heavy. "That's not happening." "Then you're unfit to lead." Marcus's voice carried down the corridor, and Maya saw heads turn. Warriors stopping to listen. "You would sacrifice this entire pack for a monster? For something that shouldn't even exist?" "Careful, Marcus," Dominic growled. "I invoke the right of challenge," Marcus declared. "You're protecting a dark creature in direct violation of our most sacred laws. I challenge your fitness to lead." The pack split before Maya's eyes. Half the warriors moved toward Marcus, taking his side. The other half stayed with Dominic, but their faces showed doubt, fear. Outside, Ragnar's army held their approach. "This is insane," Maya breathed. "I'll leave. I'll go to them. Just stop." "No." Kai appeared, bloodied but alive, weapons in both hands. "That's exactly what they want. Ragnar doesn't just want you dead, Maya. He wants your blood for a ritual. Your power." Another explosion rocked the estate. Closer this time. The battle had reached the inner grounds. "We don't have time for a coup," Dominic snarled at Marcus. We have an army at our gates. An army that wants her. Victoria pushed through the crowd, her beautiful face twisted with rage and terror. Give them what they want, and they'll leave. You think Ragnar will just take her and go? Kai's laugh was bitter. He'll slaughter us all anyway. That's what Bloodfang does. A Bloodfang warrior crashed through the window. Kai moved like lightning, his blade finding the wolf's throat before it could attack. But more were coming. Maya could hear them, smell the blood and violence on the air. Decision time, Alpha, Marcus said. Her or us. Dominic looked at Maya, and she saw the war in his eyes. Duty versus instinct. Pack versus whatever she was to him. She wanted to tell him it was okay, that she understood, that she'd go willingly if it meant saving his people. But before anyone could move, the battle came to them. Bloodfang warriors poured through the breach, shifting between human and wolf forms as they fought. Silvercrest pack members met them with tooth and claw. The corridor became a slaughterhouse. Maya pressed herself against the wall, watching warriors die, watching blood paint the expensive wallpaper. This was her fault. All of it. A Bloodfang wolf broke through the defenders, heading straight for her. Silver light exploded from her hands, but this time, something else came with it. Darkness. Shadows that moved like living things, wrapping around the wolf, squeezing until bones cracked. The wolf fell, dead or dying. Maya stared at her hands. At the silver light in one palm and the writhing shadows in the other. No, she whispered. No, no, no. But it was too late. The Shadow Walker power was awake, and it was hungry. More Bloodfang warriors came. Maya's body moved on instinct, like it had during the combat trial, but this time the power that flowed through her was darker, colder. She bent shadows into weapons, blades that cut through flesh, chains that bound wolves mid-leap. She stepped through darkness itself, appearing behind enemies who never saw the killing blow coming. She saved 3 Silvercrest warriors from certain death. Then 5 more. Then a dozen. But the fear in their eyes grew with every life she saved. Shadow Walker, someone whispered. Then louder, she's a Shadow Walker. I told you. Victoria screamed. Monster. Abomination. Maya wanted to stop, wanted to pull the power back, but she didn't know how. It poured out of her like a flood, responding to her terror, her desperation to protect these people who looked at her like she was the enemy. The battle raged. Kai fought at her side, never wavering despite the fear she could see in his eyes. Dominic led the defense with brutal efficiency, but the pack's division was costing them. Marcus's faction fought the Bloodfang pack, but they also blocked Dominic's warriors from coordinating properly. It was chaos. Then Maya saw him, Ragnar, in human form now, walking through the battle like he was taking a stroll. Huge, scarred, with eyes that glowed red even when he wasn't shifted. He looked at the carnage and laughed. There she is, he called out, his voice booming. The Moonweaver's daughter. Look at you, already tapping into that dark power. Beautiful. Stay back, Maya warned, shadows coiling around her hands. Or what? You'll kill me like you're killing my warriors? Ragnar spread his arms. Please. Do it. Show them all what you really are. A Bloodfang wolf lunged at Dominic from his blind side. Maya reacted without thinking, shadows exploded from her, wrapping around not just the attacking wolf but 3 others nearby. But the power didn't stop. It kept growing, spreading, hungry for more. Reality rippled. The air itself tore, opening like a wound. Through it, Maya could see nothing. Void. Darkness. And things moving in that darkness, drawn to the light of the mortal world. Shadow creatures began to pour through. They were nightmares made flesh, formless, writhing, composed of darkness that ate light. They attacked everything, Bloodfang and Silvercrest alike. Warriors screamed as shadow creatures wrapped around them, draining them of something essential, leaving hollow husks behind. No. Maya tried to pull the power back, to close the rift, but it was too late. The tear in reality was spreading, growing wider with every second. Ragnar's laughter echoed across the grounds. Yes. Open the veil. Let the old world return. He turned to his warriors. Fall back. Let the shadows soften them up. You're insane, Maya gasped. You'll kill everyone. I'll reshape the world, Ragnar corrected. With your blood and the Luna chair's power, I'll control the veil itself. Unlimited power. Immortality. Everything the Shadow Walkers once had. His red eyes gleamed. You're not a mistake, girl. You're a key. And I'm going to use you to unlock paradise. Dominic appeared at Maya's side, bleeding from a dozen wounds. His arm hung wrong, broken or dislocated. But his eyes were clear, focused on the rift that was swallowing his world. Close it, he said. Whatever it costs, close it. I don't know how, Maya said desperately. The chair's magic and her Shadow Walker blood were tearing her apart from the inside, each trying to dominate the other. Silver light and darkness warred beneath her skin, and she could feel herself coming apart at the seams. A shadow creature lunged at them. Kai intercepted it, his spelled weapons actually able to hurt the thing. But there were too many. They were losing. The chair, Dominic said, grabbing her shoulders. You said it feeds you knowledge. Ask it. Connect to it. There has to be a way. Movement behind them. Too fast. Victoria, holding a blade that gleamed with runes Maya recognized from her research. A Shadow Walker killing blade. This ends now, Victoria snarled, driving the blade toward Maya's heart. Kai moved. He threw himself between them, taking the blade meant for Maya. It punched through his chest, right where his heart beat, and the runes flared with terrible light. Kai gasped, blood bubbling from his lips. No. Maya caught him as he fell, her hands trying to stem the bleeding even though she knew it was useless. The blade had been designed for one purpose, killing Shadow Walkers. And Kai had taken it for her. Your mother's letter, Kai gasped, his scared face going pale. The rest, hidden, in the chair itself. Stay with me, Maya begged. Please, Kai, stay. But the light was already fading from his eyes. The warrior who'd failed to save her family 30 years ago, who'd spent 3 decades living with that guilt, finally found his redemption. And it cost him everything. Maya screamed. The sound wasn't human. It shattered every remaining window in the estate, sent cracked spiderwebbing through stone walls. The rift exploded wider, reality itself buckling under the weight of her grief and rage. And through that rift, through the darkness and the shadow creatures, a figure stepped into the mortal world. He was tall, beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, with golden eyes that held galaxies and shadows that curled around his fingers like pets. Power radiated from him, not pack magic, not Luna's gift, but something older, darker, fundamental. Maya knew him from her dreams. From her blood. From the deepest part of herself that she'd been running from since this all began. Her father. Still alive. He looked at the carnage, at the rift, at Maya kneeling in Kai's blood. His expression was unreadable. Then he smiled. Hello, daughter, Kieran said, his voice carrying across the battlefield with inhuman resonance. I've been waiting 30 years to meet you. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 6. The battlefield went silent. Every warrior, Bloodfang and Silvercrest, human form and wolf, froze as Kieran stepped fully through the rift. He moved like liquid shadow, graceful and otherworldly, power rolling off him in waves that made the air itself shudder. Even Ragnar, massive and terrifying, took an involuntary step back. Kieran looked at the rift, at the shadow creatures still pouring through, and sighed like a parent disappointed in a child's mess. He raised one hand, fingers spread, and the shadows responded to him like they were part of his body. The rift snapped shut. Just like that. No struggle, no effort. The tear in reality sealed itself, the shadow creatures dissolving back into the void before they could claim more victims. The sudden absence of that terrible wrongness made Maya's ears pop. There, Kieran said, his golden eyes surveying the carnage. Much better. Maya couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Her father, this creature of shadow and impossible power, stood in the ruins of the estate like he belonged there. Like he hadn't just emerged from another dimension after being dead for 30 years. You, Ragnar breathed, red eyes wide. You're supposed to be dead. Imprisoned. The councils lied. Kieran's voice was pleasant, conversational, but underneath it ran something cold and infinite. They do that. It's what they're best at, really. He turned those golden eyes on Maya, and she felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. Hello, daughter. You've grown. You're alive, Maya whispered. Demonstrably. He stepped over a fallen warrior without looking down, moving toward her with inhuman grace. And you're everything your mother hoped you'd be. Though I suspect the circumstances of our reunion aren't what she imagined. Dominic moved between them, wounded and bleeding but still every inch the alpha. Stay back. Kieran stopped, tilting his head. The Silvercrest Alpha. My daughters, what are you, exactly? Captor? Protector? Lover? His smile was sharp. All three, perhaps? She's under my protection, Dominic said. But I know that chair has never been wrong in 1,000 years. He came closer, close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his eyes, smell the blood and smoke on him. And I know you've bled for my pack, fought for my people, when you owed us nothing. If you'll have me, if you'll stay, I'll spend my life proving I'm worthy of you. Maya opened her mouth to answer, to say yes or no or something. The Luna's chair cracked. Not a small fracture. A deep, terrible splitting sound that echoed across the grounds. Silver light leaked from the cracks like blood, and Maya felt the chair's power stuttering, failing. Kieran's eyes went wide with something Maya had never expected to see from him, fear. No. It's not possible. What's happening? Dominic demanded. The chair isn't just claiming her, it's dying. Kieran moved toward the great hall where the chair sat, and everyone followed. Something is consuming its power from within. If it breaks before the bonding is complete. They reached the hall. The chair sat on its platform, silver light bleeding from a dozen cracks that spread as they watched. The full moon rose through the shattered windows, painting everything in pale light. Maya felt it then, the pull of the chair's magic, the countdown that had been ticking since the moment she sat down. 8 days. Now 8 minutes, maybe less. The third trial, she whispered, understanding flooding through her. It was never announced. Because it was always this moment, Kieran said grimly. The chair is forcing the choice. Embrace your Shadow Walker heritage and reject the Luna bond, or accept the Luna destiny and suppress your shadow blood. His golden eyes met hers. You can't be both, Maya. The magics are tearing you apart. You have to choose. What happens if I don't? Her voice shook. The chair's magic will kill you. Burn you from the inside out. Kieran moved closer. Choose the shadows, daughter. Come with me. Live. Choose the Luna bond, Dominic said, his hand finding hers. Stay. Trust me to protect you. The chair cracked wider. Maya could feel time running out, could feel both powers warring inside her, silver light and living darkness, each demanding dominance, each threatening to consume her if she didn't choose. She looked at Kai's body, carried into the hall by warriors who'd once feared him. At Dominic, bleeding and broken but still standing. At Kieran, offering her escape into a world where she'd never have to be afraid again. At the chair, dying because she was too much of both worlds and not enough of either. The full moon reached its peak. Maya made her choice. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 7. The chair was dying, and Maya could feel it in her bones. She approached the platform slowly, every eye in the hall fixed on her. The cracks spread across the silver surface like veins, light bleeding out with each passing second. The pull was magnetic now, demanding, the chair's magic crying out for completion or release. Don't. Kieran's voice cut through the tension. Maya, the trial is balance. You have to merge Luna blood and Shadow Walker powers without letting either consume you. It's never been done. The magics are fundamentally opposed, they'll tear you apart. Then what's the point? Maya's voice shook. If it's impossible. The point is choice. Dominic moved to stand beside her, his presence solid despite his wounds. The chair is forcing you to choose one or the other. Luna or Shadow Walker. Light or dark. And either choice kills the other half of me. Maya looked at the dying chair, understanding flooding through her. That's the trial. Not whether I'm strong enough to balance them. Whether I'm willing to destroy part of myself to survive. Yes, Kieran said softly. I'm sorry, daughter. But you can't be both. Choose shadows, and the Luna magic will burn away. Choose light, and your Shadow Walker blood will be suppressed, dormant. Either way, you lose. Maya thought of her mother running through dark forests, dying to protect her daughter's future. Of her father imprisoned for 30 years, breaking reality itself to find her. Of Kai bleeding out, whispering about love and choice. My mother and father loved each other, she said. That wasn't a violation of natural law. That was proof that balance could exist. Maya, Kieran started. No. She climbed the platform steps, each one feeling like a mile. You said their love broke ancient laws. But what if the laws were wrong? What if balance wasn't about choosing one or the other, but about finding a way to be both? She reached the chair. Up close, the cracks were worse, deep fissures that leaked silver light like blood. The magic pulsing from it was chaotic, desperate, dying. Maya placed her hands on the armrests. Pain exploded through her body. It felt like being unmade at the cellular level, every atom torn apart and reassembled wrong. Silver light and shadow poured from the chair into her, warring inside her body, each trying to dominate. Her Luna blood screamed for purity. Her Shadow Walker heritage demanded chaos. And she was the battlefield being destroyed between them. She heard screaming, realized it was her own voice. Then the world shifted. Maya stood in a forest that wasn't quite real. The trees were silver, the ground beneath her feet made of moonlight. And before her stood a woman who radiated power so ancient, so fundamental, that Maya's knees nearly buckled. The first Luna. She was beautiful in a way that transcended simple aesthetics, tall and strong, with eyes that held centuries of wisdom. But there was sadness there too. Recognition. You understand, the first Luna said, her voice like wind through trees. Don't you? You loved a Shadow Walker too, Maya breathed. The ancient wolf smiled. His name was Kale. He was everything the councils feared, powerful, chaotic, dangerous. And I loved him with everything I was. She moved closer, and Maya saw tears on her face. They killed him for it. Hunted him down, tore him apart, scattered his essence across dimensions so he could never reform. I'm sorry, Maya whispered. Don't be. The first Luna touched Maya's face with impossible gentleness. I created the chair afterward. Not to enforce purity, as the councils believed. But to find someone strong enough to bridge both worlds. To finish what Kale and I started. Her smile was sad and hopeful at once. Every Luna before you was only half of what was needed. You, Maya, you're the fulfillment of a 1,000-year-old hope. But the magics are tearing me apart. Because you're trying to hold on to all of both. The first Luna's hands moved to Maya's shoulders. Balance isn't about having everything. It's about knowing what to keep and what to let go. Her eyes held Maya's. You can be both Luna and Shadow Walker. But not at the extremes. The reality-tearing shadow magic, the overwhelming Luna light, those have to go. You'll be powerful, but not godlike. You'll be vulnerable. Human enough to die. And if I'm not strong enough without those powers? Then you were never meant to be Luna. The first Luna stepped back. Choose, Maya Chen. But choose knowing the cost. The vision shattered. Maya was back in the hall, her hands still on the dying chair, pain still ripping through her body. But now she understood. The chair wasn't forcing her to choose between magics, it was asking if she was willing to sacrifice power for balance. She closed her eyes and let go. The shadow magic that could tear reality, released. The Luna light that could burn armies, released. She kept only what she needed. Enough power to protect, to defend, to bridge. But not to dominate. Not to destroy. The chair's magic responded, flowing into her with purpose instead of chaos. But the cracks were spreading too fast. She was losing. Dominic shifted. His transformation was instantaneous, from man to massive gray wolf in a heartbeat. He leaped onto the platform, and Maya felt his power crash into her like a wave. The mate bond, incomplete and improper but genuine, forcing itself into existence through sheer alpha will. Not alone, his thought pressed into her mind. Never alone. A howl rose from the pack. Then another. And another. Warriors who'd feared her, doubted her, fought against her, they howled as one, lending their strength. The sound shook the walls, filled the hall with a power that was pack, family, unity. Even Kieran stepped forward. His shadow magic joined the flow, not to make her more Shadow Walker, but to help her find the center point. Light and dark, balanced on the edge of a blade. The chair exploded. Maya screamed as the magic flowed into her, a torrent of power that reformed itself inside her body. For an instant, she felt a crown of silver and shadow materialize on her head, heavy, regal, undeniable. Then it faded, sinking into her skin, becoming part of her. The marks on her arms shifted. No longer painful burns, but beautiful patterns, silver and shadow intertwined, flowing together like mercury and ink. Perfect balance. Maya opened her eyes. The pain was gone. The chair was destroyed, pieces scattered across the platform. But its magic lived in her now, and it felt right. Complete. She stood, and the pack's howling rose to a crescendo. Dominic shifted back to human form, and Maya saw wonder in his amber eyes. He could feel it too, the mate bond, raw and new, connecting them at a level deeper than words. Luna, someone whispered. Then louder, Luna Maya. The chant spread through the pack. Even warriors who'd sided with Marcus took up the call, the chair's magic settling any doubt about her legitimacy. Ragnar, bound and broken, laughed bitterly from where he knelt. You think you've won? The councils will never accept her. They'll hunt her forever. You've doomed yourselves. Dominic's power filled the room, alpha authority, absolute and undeniable. Take him to the cells. Maximum security. I want him alive for trial. You're not going to execute him? Victoria asked, her voice hollow. She knelt beside her father, both of them bound and defeated. Mercy, Dominic said, is not weakness. It's strength. Something your family forgot. He looked at Maya. Something she reminded me. The pack moved to obey, warriors dragging Ragnar and the conspirators away. The hall began to clear, leaving only Dominic's core council and Kieran, who watched his daughter with pride and sorrow mixed. You did it, Kieran said softly. You found balance. Thanks to you, Maya said. All of you. The bond isn't complete, one of the elders said, not Marcus, but an older woman who'd remained neutral during the chaos. The Luna ceremony must be performed. It should take weeks to prepare, but we don't have weeks, Dominic said. The magic needs completion before it stabilizes. Tonight. Now. He turned to Maya, and she saw the question in his eyes. The offer to release her, even now, after everything. Say no, he said quietly, for her ears only. I'll find a way to protect you without the bond. You don't owe us your freedom. Maya looked at him, this alpha who defended her when he had every reason not to, who'd forced a mate bond through sheer will to save her life. She looked at the pack, at warriors who'd howled their acceptance. At Kieran, standing in the shadows, offering a life free from all this responsibility. She thought of Kai's last words. Of her mother's sacrifice. Of all the lives lost to fear and hatred. She opened her mouth to answer. Alarms blared throughout the estate. Howls rose in the distance, hundreds of them, a sound that made the earlier battles seem like a skirmish. A warrior crashed through the hall doors, bloodied and panicked. The High Council, he gasped. All 5 alphas. They've declared Luna Maya an abomination. They're bringing an army to execute her at dawn. The room erupted in chaos. Through the broken windows, Maya could see lights on the horizon, torches, hundreds of them, surrounding the estate. The howls grew louder, closer, a wall of sound that promised violence. Dominic's hands clenched into fists. His eyes met Maya's, and she saw the calculation there. The impossible math of defending against 5 allied packs with an army that outnumbered them 10 to 1. How long until dawn? He asked. 3 hours, Alpha. Dominic turned to Maya, and his voice dropped to a growl. Then we finish this now. Maya, marry me. Right now. Before they arrive. A completed bond, they can't break without starting a war between all packs. Dominic. I know it's fast. I know it's not romantic. I know you deserve better than a ceremony performed while armies mass at our gates. He caught her hands, his grip warm and solid. But a completed mate bond with witnesses, they can't undo it. Not without violating laws older than the High Council itself. The howls drew closer. Maya could feel the press of hostile power against the estate's weakened defenses. 3 hours until an army tried to kill her. Minutes to decide if she'd bind herself to this alpha, this pack, this impossible life she'd never chosen. She looked at Dominic and saw not just an alpha, but a man willing to start a war to protect her. She thought of Kai's sacrifice, her mother's love, the first Luna's hope that someone would finally bridge both worlds. Maya squeezed Dominic's hands. Yes. If you are enjoying this video, do well to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Chapter 8. There was no time for a proper ceremony. The pack gathered in the Great Hall, still bloodied from battle, still grieving their dead. Warriors lined the walls, weapons ready, knowing that an army waited outside. But for this moment, this sacred, desperate moment, they turned their attention inward. Maya stood before Dominic on the platform where the chair had shattered. The pieces still lay scattered around them, silver fragments that caught the moonlight. She wore borrowed clothes, her arms still marked with silver and shadow, her hair tangled from battle. She'd never felt less prepared for anything in her life. Dominic looked just as ragged, bruised, bloodied, his arm in a makeshift sling. But his eyes were steady as they met hers. We do this the old way, the elder woman said, stepping forward with a ceremonial blade. Blood and oath, witnessed by pack. The bond must be willing, complete, and sealed before dawn. It's willing, Dominic said, never looking away from Maya. More than willing. The ceremony was ancient, raw. No flowers, no music, no guests in formal wear. Just 2 people choosing each other while their world burned around them. Maya repeated words in a language she didn't know but somehow understood, felt them settle into her bones like truth. When the elder cut their palms, pressing the wounds together, Maya felt Dominic's power flow into her. Alpha strength, pack bonds, the weight of leadership and protection. It should have been overwhelming, but it felt right. Like coming home. I claim you, Dominic said, his voice carrying across the hall. Before Pack and Moon, I claim Maya Chen as my mate, my Luna, my equal. I accept, Maya said, and meant it with everything she was. Before Pack and Moon, I accept Dominic Silvercrest as my mate, my alpha, my partner. Power exploded outward. Not destructive, transformative. Every wolf in the pack gasped as they felt the bond snap into place with undeniable certainty. This wasn't just an alpha choosing a mate. This was Luna magic recognizing its true vessel, pack bonds restructuring around a new center, balance being achieved for the first time in centuries. The silver and shadow marks on Maya's arms blazed, spreading across her shoulders, her back, forming patterns that told a story of light and dark unified. For a moment, she felt the crown again, silver and shadow intertwined, settling on her head like a blessing and a burden combined. Then Kieran stepped forward. "May I?" he asked quietly, and Maya nodded. What followed was something none of the wolves had ever seen. Kieran spoke in a language that predated werewolves, that came from the shadow realm itself. He drew symbols in the air with darkness that held form, binding Maya to both worlds in a way that had never been done before. "Shadow recognizes light," Kieran said, his golden eyes glowing. "Chaos accepts order. My daughter stands as bridge between worlds, bound to both, slave to neither." He looked at Dominic. "Protect her, Alpha. She's precious beyond measure." "With my life," Dominic said. Dawn broke. The first rays of sun cut through the broken windows, painting everything gold. Maya felt the mate bonds settle fully, felt herself connected to Dominic and through him to every member of the pack. Their emotions, their loyalty, their fear and hope, all of it flowing through her like a living current. The howls outside stopped. A messenger appeared in the doorway, his face pale. "The High Council demands entry, Alpha. They say they'll breach the walls if denied." "Let them in," Dominic said. His hand found Maya's, their fingers intertwining. "Let them see what they came to destroy." 5 alphas entered the hall. They were old, not in appearance, but in the weight they carried. Centuries of leadership, power, and authority radiated from them like heat. Warriors flanked them, enough to slaughter everyone in the hall if given the order. Maya felt the pack tense, ready to fight even though they knew it was hopeless. The lead alpha was a woman who looked 40 but moved like time itself had bowed to her. Silver hair, silver eyes, presence that made even Dominic seem young. She surveyed the hall, taking in the destruction, the bloodstains, the exhausted warriors. Then her eyes found Maya. "The chair accepted her?" Celine asked, her voice carrying a weight that made the question a judgment. "The chair chose her," Dominic said. "Claimed her. Died transferring its power to her." Celine moved closer, each step measured. She examined Maya with eyes that had seen civilizations rise and fall, that could probably see through any deception. Maya forced herself to stand straight, to meet that ancient gaze without flinching. "Moonweaver's daughter," Celine said finally. "I knew your mother. She was remarkable." Maya's breath caught. "You knew her?" "Before the massacre. Before the fear took hold." Celine reached out, touching the marks on Maya's arm. "Shadow and light. Just like the prophecy said." She turned to the other alphas. "The chair has never been wrong. Not in 1,000 years. If it chose her, we have no authority to override that choice." Then, shocking everyone in the hall, Celine knelt. "Forgive us, Luna. We were told you were a usurper, a dark creature using forbidden magic to steal power. We didn't know you were legitimate. We didn't know you'd completed the bonding." The other 4 alphas hesitated, then followed her lead. Kneeling before Maya, acknowledging her right to the title, her power, her position. The political shift was instantaneous. Warriors who'd come ready to kill instead sheathed their weapons. The threat of execution vanished, replaced by wary respect. But Celine's expression remained grave as she stood. "Not everyone will accept this. There are factions within every pack that fear Shadow Walker influence. You'll face challenges, attempts on your life, political schemes, tests of your right to rule." She looked at Dominic. This piece is fragile. Protect it. Protect her. Always, Dominic said. The High Council departed, taking their army with them. Maya watched them go, feeling the weight of what had just happened. Acceptance. Legitimacy. And underneath it all, the certainty that this was just the beginning of a much longer fight. The pack gathered as the sun climbed higher. Dominic stood before them, Maya at his side, and spoke about strength through adaptation. About how their pack would lead the supernatural world into a new era where balance mattered more than purity, where fear gave way to understanding. When he finished, he looked at Maya. Her turn. She'd never given a speech before. Never led anything more complicated than a charity gala. But she stepped forward, felt the pack's attention settle on her like a physical thing, and spoke from her heart. I didn't choose this, she said. I sat in a chair by accident and everything changed. But I chose what came after. I chose to fight for you. To bleed for you. To become something I never thought I could be. She looked across the gathered faces. I'm not a perfect Luna. I'll make mistakes. But I promise you this, I'll protect both Wolf and Shadow. I'll serve rather than rule. And I'll spend every day trying to be worthy of what that chair saw in me. The pack's howl of acceptance shook the walls. Kieran found her afterward, as the pack began the work of rebuilding. I have to go, he said. My people need to know the veil will be protected, not destroyed. That balance has been achieved. Maya's throat tightened. Will I see you again? Yes. He pulled her into an embrace that smelled like shadows and starlight. You're my daughter. Distance doesn't change that. He pulled back, his golden eyes soft. You are everything your mother hoped you'd be. She'd be so proud. Then he stepped into the shadows and was gone. The resolutions came swiftly. Victoria and Marcus were stripped of rank and exiled, their families' name disgraced. The Bloodfang pack, what remained of it, was absorbed into Silvercrest's territory under heavy supervision. Kai was honored as a hero, his name carved into the memorial stone alongside the other fallen warriors. 3 months passed. Maya walked through Silvercrest territory in the golden light of late afternoon, and pack members greeted her with respect that had become genuine affection. She'd spent the time learning how to lead, how to fight, how to navigate pack politics without losing herself. She trained warriors in techniques that blended traditional combat with shadow manipulation. She negotiated treaties with other supernatural factions. She made mistakes and learned from them. The throne, reformed from the chair's remains and placed in the council chamber, sat empty except during formal ceremonies. But its magic lived in Maya. She could feel every pack member's heartbeat, their joys and fears, the threads that connected them all. She found Dominic in their private garden, a space they'd created together from the ruins. He looked up as she approached, and the mate bond hummed between them, warm and constant. The High Council wants us at the summit next month, he said. They're voting on new laws regarding mixed-blood supernatural children. Maya sighed, settling beside him on the bench. They're going to use us as the example, aren't they? Dominic's grin was pure mischief. Probably. Can you handle being the face of supernatural integration? I accidentally sat in a magic chair and ended up queen of the werewolves, Maya said, laughing. I can handle a political summit. She leaned against him, felt his arm come around her shoulders. Besides, I've got the best alpha in the world watching my back. Damn right you do. They sat in comfortable silence as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of silver and gold. The estate was lit against the gathering darkness, the pack gathered and thriving. A new flag flew from the main building, silver and shadow intertwined, representing everything they'd fought for. Maya thought about the woman she'd been 3 months ago. The event coordinator with no family, no history, no power. That woman was gone. In her place stood Luna Maya Silvercrest, bridge between worlds, keeper of balance, protector of pack. She wasn't perfect. Shadow creatures still tested the veil occasionally, drawn to her power. Some packs feared her. She made mistakes and would make more. But she was learning, growing, becoming the bridge the first Luna had hoped for 1,000 years ago. As they walked inside, Maya glanced back through the window at the throne. It sat in the council chamber, silver and shadow gleaming in the lamplight. It didn't glow anymore, it didn't need to. It had found exactly who it was looking for. And so had she. I know you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Do well to drop your thoughts in the comments section below and share this video to family and friends.